is Lois. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well wherever you are. Now people, oh my gosh, everybody has reached out. So many of you're saying, Lois, please, we want to hear your position or your advice on the recent announcement that was made yesterday by the Canadian Minister Mark Fraser regarding international students in Canada, and that is the reason I am here. Okay, so guys, I'm here to discuss these new changes, major changes, and we see how they are going to affect you, who they are affecting, and also we discuss this thing objectively as I tell you my thoughts. Okay, and I said my thoughts, this is just my, this is not any legal advice. This is strictly my opinion on what I think will happen and how maybe we should go forward. I don't have all the answers, guys. It's only yesterday, but come on, let's talk. Let's talk, guys. So, I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and I'm based here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I run Milele Immigration Services. Have you subscribed? If you have subscribed, thank you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing this video. This video, I believe, is for everybody, because right now the way immigration changes are happening in Canada, I always tell you, immigration here changes faster than the Canadian weather, and the weather here is quite unpredictable. So is immigration. Now, here we are, and all of a sudden, 22nd of January, and what we thought we knew, now we don't know, and there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to immigration, and maybe you, your friend, your relatives, your child, you're thinking of coming to Canada, you are planning, and maybe studies was one of the options. We always say that study is the best option when especially you want to immigrate to Canada and you can't qualify for the skilled worker programs. But now this is a time that you need to step back and reassess your options and see, now, will I even qualify? And you need to look at the long-term goals, like your main objective, and then work backwards, so that you can plan properly and see, how do I proceed with my Canadian dreams. Okay, so without further ado, I'm not gonna talk so much. Let's first discuss these changes. First and foremost, the government has decided to restrict immigration in Canada. There was crazy growth in immigration, and they want to restrict that. And the quickest way to restrict that is first limiting the number of students who come here as international students. This is something that they hinted from last year. I just didn't know that would come sooner. But anyway, here we are. So number one, study permit caps. Okay, that is what they are capping. So there's going to be a cap on study permit approvals that is set for both 2024 and 2025, and this is going to be a temporary measure for 2 years. Okay, the 2024 cap is around 360 study permits, and that is a decrease of 35% from 2023. In 2025, the cap is to be set after they reassess this year's cap. Okay, so this cap does not affect study permit renewals and the current study permit holders. So if you're already in Canada as a student, or you already hold a study permit, it doesn't affect you. This is for the applications that are going to be happening from yesterday. Okay, all right, then this cap doesn't apply to master's or doctoral degree master's or doctoral degree applications, and of course it also doesn't apply to elementary and secondary school applications. So usually you can see that the people who are being targeted are undergraduate students, people who mostly come here to colleges and universities. Okay, number two, what is the other change? The application process will change after the cap. So what does this mean? It means that IRCC now, they are going to allocate a cap per province or territory. Okay, because as you know, some provinces are the most favorite for international students. Ontario and BC, they have been the most popular for international students. So they are going to cap that according to the population in that province or territory. Then these provinces, the moment they are given caps, they will now be able to cap their DLIs, that is the schools in their province, designated learning institutions. Okay, so it's going to trickle down. So the federal has said provinces, you can only have this many, and then the provinces are going now to talk to their schools and say, this is how many students you can bring to Canada. Okay, then as of yesterday, which is January 2022, every study permit, this is the big one, every study permit application that we submit to ircc will require an attestation letter from the province or territory. I can tell you, as at this morning, nobody knows how this is going to work. Okay, we still don't know. So I am still here. We had study permits to submit this week. We still are not yet in the clear on how we are going to approach that. I was just talking to schools this morning and they said, come on, it's new territory, we are figuring it out, we will let you know so that you can submit your study permit. So as at this moment, we don't know how to get these attestation letters. Okay, then while they say that, I am hoping that that gets resolved real fast, because provinces and territories are expected to establish that process of issuing attestation letters to students no later than 31st of March. So today is 23rd of January. They have like 1 month and 10 days to figure out, or 12 days to figure out how to issue these attestation letters. Okay, guys? Let us wait. I know that is a kicker. It has everybody confused, especially if you're just planning to submit your study permit. Good luck. You are just lucky if you had submitted your study permit before this. But for the people, and I have a lot of those people right now, we just have to wait a little bit. So please be patient. My clients, please reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's meet, let's organize a quick meeting and chat, just so that I can ease your nerves. I know it's a lot of people. We've tried to reach out to a lot of you, but if we haven't reached out to you or you haven't seen our email, please reach out to us and let us chat. And that is for the people whose study permits are pending. Okay, all right. Now then, there is another change on postgraduate work permit. Oh my gosh, this is so discouraging. But you know what? It's what it is. So what are these changes, my friends? So some people are now not going to be eligible to apply for postgraduate work permit. There you graduate here from a DLI and you graduate after 1 year, you get 1 year postgraduate work permit. You do a 2-year program, 3-year program, 4-year program, and then you get a 3-year postgraduate work permit. That is changing with immediate effect. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that the program, some programs are not eligible for postgraduate work permit, and that is going to start in September, so not yet started. So which are these people who will not qualify? As much as you come here to study, you will not qualify for postgraduate work permit. And I usually tell you, if your goal is to become a permanent resident, then getting a program that leads to postgraduate work permit is your topmost goal. So if now you won't qualify, you want to reassess yourself to make sure that the program that you come to study in Canada leads you to a postgraduate work permit. Otherwise, you won't be qualifying to transition to permanent resident thereafter. Who are these people? Number one, international students who begin to study a program that is part of a curriculum licensing arrangement. Okay? So if you're that category, please, unfortunately, you will not get a postgraduate work permit. Number two, students who physically attend a private college in Canada that has been licensed to deliver the curriculum of an associated public college. I hope this is clear, because we have so many schools here where you come to study, it's a private college, but they are in some kind of a collaboration with a public college whereby, after you study there, you will get a credential from that college. And those colleges are very popular. Those private colleges, they are very popular. They bring people here, they bend backwards, forwards, they have easy admissions and all that. They promise you scholarships. So if you are planning to come to study to one of those colleges, you know, I always tell you guys, like, always try and come to public institutions. Come to public colleges here. There's so much advantage to coming to a public college. So if you're coming to that kind of a college, unfortunately, you will not be getting a postgraduate work permit. Okay? So if you're already in Canada with this kind of, you know, it's very important that you seek legal advice to see whether you will still be able to get permanent residence after you graduate in Canada. But this is for the people who are preparing to come to Canada. So I tell you guys, before you get to Canada, ask yourself, how will I become a permanent resident? Don't just get to Canada for the purpose of getting into Canada. Ask yourself, then what? Okay, I get the study permit, then what? That is the big question that you should always ask yourself. See the bigger picture, okay? Now, the other change that happened is that there's going to be limited open work permits that are going to be issued to spouses of international students. This is very discouraging, and they have said that soon and very soon, so like in the next few weeks, open work permits for spouses will only be available to spouses of international students who are studying master's or doctoral programs. Okay, you know how it's always been nice that you can come to Canada and you can bring your family with you. Now, if you are not studying a master's or a doctoral program, unfortunately, you will not be able to bring your spouse to Canada. Okay, and then the last change that happened is that the extended postgraduate work permit periods for graduate level programs, students is going to change. Okay, what does that mean? This is a positive thing. This is actually a positive change that should be encouraging. So graduates of masters and other short graduate level programs will soon now be eligible for a 3-year work permit post-graduation. So it's not just, it doesn't have to be 2 years, it could be shorter, but they're all going to qualify for the 3-year work permit as long as they are doing a master's or short graduate level program. So it's high time now that you start reconsidering the programs that you're coming to study in Canada. Please, you have to be very intentional. What ircc is trying to reduce is the misuse of the immigration program, whereby people, you know, they say, you know, I just want any program that will land me in Canada. So they are trying to avoid that. They are trying to restrict that and make sure that Canada gets quality students, and also hold into accountability the schools here to make sure that they're also not just profit driven, where they just issue LOAs, even at the expense of Canadian students, and they don't even have the resources to handle international students. You know, I'm not going to be naming schools here, but I know we've been hearing about schools that don't have accommodation, schools that are not even prepared to handle international students. Some students are almost going on strikes. They feel that they're paying so much money, but they are not getting the quality of the education that they paid for, having come all the way to Canada. So I see where the government is coming. Again, it's an election year, people. So a lot of things will be happening. But you know what? What are my takeaways? Now, what are my takeaways? And I say, you know, don't come after me. I say this is my opinion, truly. Again, immigration is highly political. That is a given, okay? So I can see at the back how politics are playing into all this. Again, I said it's an election year, and I believe that we haven't seen all the changes. More changes will be coming. They're also going to have these severe restrictions enforced, and I believe that they are going to be very strict on enforcing this, okay? Now, the goal, that your key objective, you have to know that if you're coming to Canada, know what you are thinking or what you are aiming at. Don't just come to Canada for the sake of coming to Canada to study. Right now, preparation is key. okay? Before you apply for that school, don't just go to any agent who promises you a letter of admission, because then what? People, they want to make sure, and I know I heard that discussion somewhere where they're saying that a lot of people have been coming here to do hair and beauty, to do baking, with the hope of becoming, you know, permanent residents or even staying longer. They want to make sure that you come study the right programs in Canada. And there's nothing wrong with coming to study baking. Don't come after me for that. There's nothing wrong with that. But they just want to make sure that they get the right students studying in Canada for the right reasons. Okay? All right. My takeaways before I end this session: the caps will not impact the current study permit holders. I'm just repeating this because I know I'll still get questions. Lois, I'm already in Canada. People, caps are not going to affect you if you're already here as a study permit holder. Second, if you're a student already in Canada, please seek legal guidance as soon as possible to understand your options post-graduation. At this moment, understand and have a clear understanding of your clear pathway of transition from student to PR. Okay? Yes, you may need to make decisions right away. So these changes are not the only ones coming. Please, people, expect more changes. You know, it's only 20th of January, 22nd of January, and we've seen 2 announcements so far. So brace yourselves for more. So as at now, we don't have a clear answer on the issuances of the attestation letters by provinces. We need to wait on that. Okay? I am actually, that is an advice I'm giving to myself, because waiting is something we have to. I'm gaining intel from the industry, from the stakeholders, and as soon as I get something better, I'll let you know. And especially if you're working with us, if you're my clients, I will keep you appraised on some of these decisions going forward. Okay? So with the issuance of attestations, what do we expect to see? We expect to see fewer admissions to schools. There's going to be strict admission processes, which means you may need to be applying to more schools to get an admission, okay? And admissions will not be guaranteed, okay? Now, what else? With these attestations, with these restrictions, with a third cut into international students in Canada, you want to focus on master's and graduate level programs, okay? That is going to be like the biggest focus, especially because those people now can bring their families, okay? The other thing, this is my secret. Please, people, focus on occupations in demand, okay? When you're choosing courses, focus on occupations in demand, whether it's federally or by the province where you are coming to study, okay? The other thing is that this will result, hopefully, in shorter processing times for study permit. This is just my observation or my hope. When I assess the whole process, so there's going to be less applications, there's going to be attestations. Schools have limited attestations, and I'm just thinking, with limited attestations, schools don't have the luxury of just having attestations out there. They want to make sure that immediately you get your study permit, you apply for, you get a letter of admission, you apply for a study permit, and after that, immigration, they need to approve or disapprove these applications quickly, so that if an attestation is still available, then, you know, if you're accepted, good. If it's not accepted, then the school can issue that kind of an attestation to the next student, okay? So that's why I'm hoping that this will bring shorter processing times. And therefore, the schools may impose a timeline for you to apply study permits. Yes, with these attestations, as I said, because of just how limited they are, they will require you to apply for a study permit within a stipulated amount of time. If you don't do that, most likely they will revoke your LOA so that they issue it to someone else who is eager and ready to apply. That is my thinking, okay? So this is the time now to make sure that when you're applying for schools, you are ready to apply for that study permit. So make sure, do a consultation. figure out what exactly you will need. Make sure you have your ducks in a row before you start applying for a school. Don't apply for a school and then start dilly-dallying. Oh, you know what? Maybe I will, defer. Maybe it'll be next year. You know what? I don't think a lot of students will have that kind of a luxury. There's no time to dilly-dally. You get that admission, then immediately you should be ready to submit your study permit application. Okay? So these caps, again, they will be reassessed next year, 2025. So again, things may change. It's only for this year, but let us see what the other year holds. So if you are planning to apply for schools now, you may start also targeting admissions for 2025. Simply because I believe right now so many people are going, with this limited number, the caps are going to fill up soon for this year. So it's okay to start planning on admissions for 2025. Before I complete this, more study permits are going to be refused. Yes, there's going to be lots of study permit refusals. It's high time you get serious with these study permit applications, my friend. Go over and above in your study permit application. Make sure it's thorough, because with higher competition and fewer slots, you want to please make sure that you put your best foot forward. So remember, the other changes that were implemented in December with regards to international students, especially when it comes to the proof of finances. So make sure that you also put those into consideration. It's a lot for international students. It's what it is. My goal is to come here and educate you, and I hope now I've given you a clearer picture. I didn't want to jump onto this bandwagon yesterday when the news came out. Anyway, I was a bit busy and held up somewhere, but I also wanted to kind of, digest this and get more clear, clear details on especially things like attestation letters, and see whether we would get, policy from IRCC. But I feel that today I can speak with confidence as per what happened yesterday. And if you are still in the dark, if you want to know whether Canada is still your destination, if you want to know whether you want to come study, what you want to come study, where now you need to start focusing, because my friend, okay, some provinces, maybe you want to start considering other provinces outside of Ontario and British Columbia. But anyway, I'm not trying to be an alarmist here, but you need to sit down with a professional and assess your options clearly before you start going to spend a lot of money. People, don't spend money right now. And as I said, please seek that legal advice. I'm here if you need me. The information here was for education purposes only. Like, share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye now.